What would happen if allowances were really scarce? What would happen if there were too many emissions and not enough allowances? What would happen if Enerhope imposed an impossible hard cap on the capped sector? If you're having trouble with the terminology, check the glossary in the Enerhope website. In most situations, large direct emitters can make major reductions in their greenhouse gas emissions. The list of emission reduction opportunities includes efficiency improvements, energy conservation, process improvements, fuel switching, renewable energy, and many other opportunities that will reveal themselves during the life of the emissions trading system. According to the regulation, a CAP facility is not allowed to reduce its emissions by moving production to a non-CAP facility or by reducing production. In either of these situations, the government may decide to reduce the allocation of allowances to that CAP facility. How can Enerhope's 5 capped facilities reduce their greenhouse gas emissions? Here are a few suggestions. The coal-fired generating station could switch from coal to natural gas at least some of the time. The cement kiln could change from a wet, cross-fired process with heaters along the length of the kiln to a dry countercurrent process with heat and materials recovery. The coal-fired generating station, the cement kiln, and the steel mill could join together in a district energy system where waste heat from the iron and steel furnaces and the cement kiln could be used to raise steam for electricity generation. The steel mill could send its hot slag directly to the cement kiln. The gas-fired generating station could change to a combined cycle cogeneration system. And I'm sure you have many other suggestions on how these facilities can reduce their emissions. What happens if there are still not enough allowances to equal the emissions, even after a sincere effort by capped facilities to reduce their emissions? The government of Enerhope can design an emissions trading system which produces significant emission reductions and is protected against shortages of allowances by creating offsets. An offset is a reward for emission reductions outside the capped sector. Offsets are created by the government of Enerhope and awarded to non-capped facilities as a reward for verified emission reductions which meet the government's requirements. For example, a company applying for offsets must prove to the government that there really was a verified emission reduction. Only the government of Enerhope can create offsets in Enerhope's emissions trading system. Any organization can claim to have made an emission reduction, but the organization does not own any offsets for the reduction until the government of Enerhope creates the offsets and places them in the proponent's account in the emissions trading registry. Offsets can be sold to capped facilities and then used to supplement allowances during retirement. More on offsets in a later chapter. Here's an example of an offset project. In 2015, Enerhope Bus Lines, a non-cap facility, will switch its entire bus fleet from diesel fuel to natural gas, which emits 30% less carbon dioxide per unit of fuel energy than diesel fuel. In switching fuels, Enerhope Bus Lines will reduce its annual greenhouse gas emissions. The company could then apply to the government of Enerhope for creation of offsets, 1 kiloton of offsets for each kiloton of greenhouse gas emission reductions. If Enerhope Bus Lines' application for offsets meets the program requirements of the offsets program, the government of Enerhope will create offsets and will transfer these offsets to Enerhope Bus Lines account in the Emissions Trading Registry. Here is an offset in Enerhope's greenhouse gas emissions trading system. Let's assume that each offset is a paper certificate printed by the government of Enerhope and awarded to a specific proponent to reward a specific emission reduction project. Each offset certificate is printed with the following information: the country of origin, the year of issue, the quantity of greenhouse gas emission reductions represented by the offset, a unique serial number for each offset. In addition, the government of Enerhope must maintain a record for each created offset accessible to the public, describing the emission reduction project and its eligibility for offsets under the specific emissions trading system criteria. After the government creates the offsets, the government places these offsets with their serial numbers in the offset proponent's account in the Emissions Trading Registry. Only then can the proponent claim to own offsets. Offsets are awarded by the government for greenhouse gas emission reduction projects in the uncapped sectors. In contrast, large direct emitters are a capped sector not eligible for offsets. The uncapped sectors, transportation, agriculture, small industries, commercial and institutional, and residential, are eligible for offsets. Organizations within these sectors have many opportunities for emission reductions through energy conservation, fuel switching, renewable energy, planting trees and agricultural crops, and many other opportunities. Any organization in the uncapped sectors can apply for offsets for a worthwhile emissions reduction project. If the application meets program requirements, the government will create offsets and place them in the proponent's account in the registry. With a large number of sectors eligible for offsets, Enerhope can create a lively offset system with many offsets for sale to CAP facilities to supplement their allowances during retirement. The large number of available offsets means that Enerhope can impose a hard cap on the capped sector without fear that CAP facilities will not be able to meet their regulatory obligations during retirement. The lively market for offsets and allowances will reward the lowest cost emission reduction technologies and activities. This presentation has been brought to you by www.enerhope.com. The Mysteries of Emissions Trading Unraveled. A free course in emissions trading, including a glossary of terminology, is available from the enerhope.com website.